Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, this time of the year, I want to tell you all about the reports on fishing, but not a lot of people are fishing now. They're either hunting, they have their boats up, and so forth. But the important thing that I wanted to tell you is this is a good time to become more acquainted with all the different regulations that the state has for fishing, not only in our area, but the rest of the state. And why is this important? Because we can go to those regs and we can see the statewide regulations on any species of fish, but almost every single water is subject to maybe their own special regulations because of the conditions there that might be different than they are in other waters in the state. For example, the Grass River, it's illegal to fish in different sections of the Grass River after November. And I'll give you an example to that. First of all, the walleyes will come up the Grass River to spawn in. I'm not just talking about the Grass River. I'm talking about the Oswegatchie River as well. And during those times when the walleyes are vulnerable, when they're in great numbers in these streams, the DEC has made it unlawful to fish for anything at that time. They don't want you throwing a hook in the water because you can affect the spawning cycle of these fish. There's so many other examples. I was talking to somebody I've known for years in Ogdensburg the other day. He was asking me about trout fishing. And he said he had gone up to the Salmon River in Malone and caught a number of fish. And he was thinking that it was still, your daily limit was still 10 fish a day. But that changed. My whole life, that's what it seemed to be. But now it is 5 fish. And they even have regulations for how many fish over 12 inches long you can keep of those 5. In other words, the conditions and the regulations have become very, very much more structured and specific. So I think it's important to find out about this. One of the things I was going to talk to you about this week is late season trout fishing in the ponds, because I knew a lot of the waters were still open. But on further investigation of these regs, I found out that that is not necessarily the case. What is open still is lake trout fishing. Lake trout fishing is open all year. So there are waters around, but the ponds that might have lake trout and brook trout, you can't go fishing after the season closes. So it's important that you read these regulations. I'll give you one more specific instance of this that I think it's important to know about and be aware of next year. Last year, they changed the bass regulations in the state, where it was okay to catch and release bass all year long in most areas. But in our region and a couple of the other Adirondack regions, it is against the law to fish for bass after the season closes until, in this case, this last year, it was June 15th. And there's such wonderful bass fishing after they spawn, which usually occurs before that date in most of the state. But when I tried to find areas where I could go and catch them and release them legally, I found that most of the waters were restricted in our area. So these are the things that it's important to be aware of. You can get these regulations with the handout. I think they still have them in Walmart of all the statewide regulations, but you can go online and you can find all the things I'm talking about. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.